everyone. Welcome to Little Tokyo's Open Presents Community Conversations. These are conversations with members of our Little Tokyo, the second oldest, largest neighborhood in Los Angeles community. And today we have a really special episode with Little Tokyo Florist, Yuka Mizusawa, the current owner, and Mary Onoue, who is the previous owner of Little Tokyo Florist, also known as Kuragami Florist. Before we dive into today's conversation, I just want to share that one of the reasons I really wanted to do today's episode was because it takes so much trust to have a business for decades and then give it to someone who was a complete stranger. And that's the story we're going to be learning about today, how someone who had a family's legacy that goes back 100 years decided to entrust her family's business to a customer that was just working on the third floor and then came down. So I want to start today with Yuka. Yuka, tell us a little bit how you went from working on the third floor and then coming down to the first floor and owning a flower shop.
It's a miracle, I have to say. I used to manage the restaurant on the third floor. And then this place was just my break, to come say hi to Mary and then Sam. And then they had the Sugar, which is a tiny dog, the fluffy white dog. Mainly for the dogs, I will come and they say hi, and then they will give me a tea, and they'll give me a senbei, little snacks and things like that, and then we'll just hang out and then talk. Mary was a really inspiring person to me, really strong mother figure. So I will hang out here, and eventually I start buying plants. It was little before pandemic, I started buying plants. That was just to me to just come here and then hang out with them.
I know that you took over the business in 2021, and for anyone who remembers what was going on in 2021, it was not really the time that anyone wants to take over a small business, especially a flower shop. It was not essential. It was getting closed down during all the shutdowns. So I feel like, Mary, you were very wise to figure out a way to retire. But I heard that you were actually planning to convince Yuka from even before the pandemic started. So why did you choose Yuka? Because I'm sure other people were like, I want to take over your flower shop. I love your flower shop. I think running a flower shop would be fun, or something like that.
Yeah, there were a lot of other people that were interested when I suggested them that we wanted to retire. But when I met Yuka, she was very well-rounded and very serious about her work ethics. And so just kiddingly, I said, well, we want to retire. What do you think about owning a flower shop? And she goes, let me talk to my dad.
Yeah.
And she did. And I trusted her more than other people because it seems like I considered her my daughter after I got to know her better. And so I was kind of, what should I say? I felt that there was something there that I could trust her with. We went here for 43 years, and that was a long time. And so I'm so glad that I found her.
I know that it must have been a bit of a process to convince her. I don't think you said yes the very first time, did you?
No, I'm really Japanese and my dad also. So we're like, yeah, it's too good to be true, something behind. And I kept coming to Mary about all questions. It's like, so what's really you have in the back? And then she goes 2-3 times, she's like, I really don't have anything that you need to worry about this business. So she's like, do it, pretty much take the risk, Yuka, just do it, and then I'm like, okay, kind of things.
Did you and Sam have a lot of discussions about Yuka going into the first offer, or was it it was decided?
Well, we had offers before I talked to Yuka, but I just was not happy with it, with the people that wanted it. So I talked to Sam about it, and he was, thinking the same way as I was. And so that's when I didn't really seriously say, you want to buy my shop. I just kiddingly, said, hey, we're going to retire. What do you think? But then, she thought about it and was willing to do it.
I know that before you took it over in 2021, there was a period of like apprenticeship where you were kind of learning from both Sam and Mary about the shop, about flower arrangement, because you didn't have a background in flower arrangement before you came in. So what were some of the things that they taught you, and how did you, when looking back at it now, what do you appreciate the most about that process?
I was with Sam more. So Sam used to do deliveries and then make structural for the arrangements and stuff like that. I will never forget, first time he took me to delivery, it was Crenshaw Hills. And he opened up this Thomas guide in 2020. And then he opens the book and then gets the address. And then he started writing down on like corner and corner. I was like, oh my gosh, really? And then he's like, I have phone though. He's like, no, I know my way around. I was like, okay, this is, Japanese culture. You don't say anything to the older people. So I just followed him, and he got lost once by the Crenshaw Mall. We had to pull over, and he goes in the back, opens his trunk, and he goes to Thomas guide again. And he's like, oh yeah, we're in the good place, right path. And I was like, okay, Sam, like never forget, like really, like that was a great experience. And then I was like, and he was like, so serious, like majime in Japanese. It's like very neat about delivering her flower to the people, to the venue. He really cared, her arrangements and stuff, like, I'm not gonna mess it up. Like, it's her creation, it's my job to deliver it. And I was like, wow, great team. Like, she creates it, and then she took it serious to deliver it. So that was like really, it's more intentional things I had learned from them than like techniques or anything like that. But I was just like, great team and great business that needs to continue. That's what I was like looking at while I was working with them.
So are you using that map when you
Yeah, right. I should have got the Thomas guide from him, but no.
I still have one.
Whoa! Yeah, I did. Yeah, you gotta keep that. It's a legacy book.
Yes, a legacy
Seriously.
book.
We're gonna have to flash
All
what that
the
is at the
markings
bottom.
on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember that.
So there was this, when we were heading into one of the big anniversaries for Little Tokyo Florist after Yuka took over, the Little Tokyo Historical Society's member, Bradley, he did an amazing job of documenting your family's history, going back to your father. And we found out through the Rafu Shimbo archives, there weren't that many articles written about this business, but he was able to look at advertisements in the newspapers and like through the advertisements figure out that it started as a nursery, and then it went into a plant shop, and then retail, and then it ended up here, and then it's going to go somewhere else, which we'll talk about later. And we were also shocked. I heard that you recently saw that presentation.
Yes, I had never seen it. I was really enthralled.
I think that when we saw that and Brad told us about that history, we were just so amazed. I think it'd be wonderful to hear a little bit about your father and about what came before the flower shop.
We were in wholesale nursery business out in Fallbrook, northern San Diego County. And he had a lot of dealings with like the Kenjinkai and other Japanese organization. He would come over all the time here, and one of his friends told him, hey, you should open something here, like a plant business or flower business or something. And so he took his advice, and we opened a small shop in Weller Court at first, before this building was built. So after a couple of years there, we moved to this new facility. We weren't always here. We were right at the corner over there where the bookstore was. Asahiya Books, was it Asahiya? I don't remember. But the bookstore was there. And we were right there, like 110 square feet.
Wow.
That's it. A
Even
small one.
smaller than this. Wow.
And then this place opened up. So we moved here. And then I was chosen to head this place. My brother and my two brothers were out in the wholesale district. So that was the start of being in downtown LA in Little Tokyo.
I can imagine there were so many things that your father taught you and your other siblings, and then there's things that you learned on your own. Was there anything that you were like, I can't teach this to Yuka, she's gonna have to learn it by herself, she'll just have to figure it out on her own? Was there anything you're like, she'll have to figure it out?
Well, I know her work ethics, so that's one of the things that I was worried about. But from the start, she was right into it, and that's what gave me a little bit of confidence that she would be okay. She would, carry on. So that's one of the things that my father was always taught us to have good work ethics. So
the thing you didn't have to teach her was
no, she already had it. I knew right away.
Yuka, what about for you? Was there anything that after you took over the business, you're like, Mary didn't tell me about this part?
None of this. None of any detail. But that was a good thing, because if I sometimes I get too much information like this now, when you have too much information, you worry, overthink so much. But at that point, she was just kind of, it's so easy, you own a business, you can control your time, you can go home early if you want to. So I'm like, I was in the restaurant business, so I'm like, oh, that sounds great, But yeah, everything came after. Yeah. And then I'm so glad I didn't know.
I think that when I think about small businesses, whether it's a restaurant or it's a retail, there's so many things we don't see, right? Like when we go to a store, we see the person serving us, we see someone making a bouquet, but we don't see all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I was really shocked to find out that you spend like 70% of your time cleaning buckets, which is apparently the most important part about owning a flower shop. Yes. Mary, for you, after owning a shop for so many decades, what do you think is something that people don't realize when it comes to running, especially a retail shop?
Yeah, it's very difficult, but it depends on the community. I had community support. There were people that live in the retirement homes there that would come in. They didn't have to buy anything, but they wanted to talk to you. They had no one, maybe, they didn't have anyone to talk to, but they would sometimes sit there, wait for us to get unbusy, and then they want us to go over there and say, hello, how you doing? And that's one of the things this community I experienced. And so that was kind of satisfying, and we met many wonderful and exotic people through them. So that was one of the things.
Yuka, as you started to get comfortable in your own rhythm of the business, were there anything that you were like, oh, that's why Mary does it this way, or, oh, I get it, because it may have felt inefficient at first, especially coming from a restaurant background. You were a manager. A manager is all about efficiency, organizing things, and sometimes a small business is a little bit more chaotic. So was there anything that you were like, okay, I get it, why they did it this way?
I think because of the flower shop business too is really different from the restaurant. This was like oasis in the city, like center of like downtown. That really we don't have much flowers on the street or anything. People will come and then smell it first, so that like hits their brain first, and then like they try to talk to us about their story behind their family, how they came here. And I was like, okay, this is just not about the business, because running the restaurant is all about the numbers, all about the hours, the labors, the costs and everything. But small business like this, is just, it's not all about the numbers and money, but it's really meant for people around here. That was like biggest learning point that I didn't know at all. And then little by little, like more people came and hang out. And then I met so many amazing people through here, just hang out all day here. Like, okay, you have to go, but like, no, but yeah, like I really enjoyed every single story and then every single person that walked in this store.
I used to work in an office around the corner, as you know, and whenever I would get hungry, I would just kind of walk down the street to Little Tokyo Florist, and I would sit at that table back there because there were always snacks. Like there's always like baked goods, there's fresh fruit, there's like souvenirs from Japan. Like your table always has snacks, and then when I would be sitting there eating the snacks and like maybe working on something for you or writing a grant or updating your POS system, I would just notice all the people coming in and everyone talking and sharing their news and not buying anything. But then you feed them like some snacks or you give their dog a treat. I would imagine, I know both of you care deeply about other people. What are the challenges of running a for-profit business, especially in an economy where prices are rising and labor cost is really high, but also making sure that you balance your humanity to still be taking care of people? Because I'm sure some days I've seen you could just give a flower to someone, one of the seniors living nearby in Towers, and I'm like, that's not the price of that flower. That doesn't make sense. That's less than what you bought it for at the flower market. Mary, I know that you transitioned out right before inflation really started skyrocketing, but were there ever moments where you were just like, oh my gosh, oh, it's so hard to run a business and also care about the community at the same time? How did you balance it?
Well, you could, care about the other people so much, but sometimes you have to pay your bills. So it was a difficult line there. And so there was people that staying too long, I said, okay, I got to get back to work. I got to do some work. Then I rush back in and then they would leave. But you gotta at least make rent, right? So there was a fine line there that I sometimes had to cross and tell them to go. But it worked out all right.
So Mary was setting boundaries before everyone else knew about what those were. We all should have been down here. We could have saved us up a lot of trouble. Yuka, what about for you? You were talking about the restaurant industry, especially the restaurants you were working for were very high pace, fast turnover. When you came here, did you ever start to get frustrated, or were you like, oh my God, my numbers? Or how did you start to navigate that, and what kind of centers you back into reminding yourself why you decided to take over?
Big time. It's all still, this whole 5 years, it was just always struggles. But I think it's just it's the beauty of owning a small business at the end. I don't think any of small business owner is just be there for the true profit. They're there to just provide the space and then actual service, everything else besides the numbers and sales to the community. I think it's just really serving the community. It's just that's small business does. It's just number is as long as we pay our bills, as long as it's we're not in debt. It's it's all good, but yeah, it's been 5 years of a great learning process of what really important for us, the community and business also, but actually myself, why I'm here is never be all the benefits and profits and numbers. I was just really enjoying being here, meeting so many great people. I will never, in this 5 years, so many met. It was just amazing 5 years. I will never regret. Yeah.
When you guys both talk about owning a business, But also you patronize other small businesses in the community. Are there any small businesses that are either still around today or have already closed that are really meaningful to you the way Little Tokyo Florist is meaningful to your audience and to your customers? Do you have any businesses that you really love?
Rafubusan there. I really enjoy going there. I've been their customer sometimes, for Japanese things, and they've always been good to us and real nice. So that's one of them. And then what's the other one? Bunkado. Bunkado has been there a long time, and I enjoy going over there also. So there's a couple of those. Yeah.
I have met so many, like I can't really say, like those and Aloha. There is Tea Master too. Sushigen's been there so long. I met the kids, like guys from like Mr. Ramen, same, like they took over out of nowhere and then struggled and everything I saw. Kodak has been there so long. And Mamoru-san, the new owner, took over the legacy business also. There's just so many, like in Little Tokyo, that still hold on to what's really generations are built. So
I love all the businesses that you named. All those are really near and dear to my heart as well. There has been some concern that Little Tokyo Florist is closing, but we want to just clarify for everyone that it's a relocation. Little Tokyo Florist is not closing, they're relocating and they're staying within the Little Tokyo borders. Yuka, can you share a little bit about this next chapter in the journey of Little Tokyo Florist?
Well, long story short, we were kind of struggling about the rent going really high, almost 50% up since I took over. The flower cost is almost 50% up, and labor too. And then it's just a hand bouquet business is just starting not really making sense. Also, really, I'm grateful that our business is expanding. So we really needed a bigger space to take on bigger events and job. Was start asking you actually that we need a space to survive for next 5, 10, 20 years and just align everything. And then this amazing building owned by Hiroshima Kenjinkai, also a non-profit, on the First Street in Hewitt, which is my favorite spot because my favorite temple is across the street, and then another temple behind us in Chuji and Nishi Honganji. Space is great, 3 times bigger than the store now. Parking attached, garage, everything. I'm it can be real, but it's just when I was really needed it, they kind of had another legacy business, Akimoto Chiropractor, had to retire. So it's just to me, it was so hard to decide to move from this location because I was attached to, in so many ways, to this store. But also, it's Hiroshima Kenjinkai, it's been there for almost 100 years also. Akimoto Chiropractor was there for 40, 45 years. They wanted some community business there. It's just everything had to be really, this is it. So I am grateful, and they're just so nice to keep this community also. And Hiroshima Kenjinkai used to be really big, but it's shrinking also. So it's a good time that we going, and then let's get this building shine again, more people comes in, and it's just it's super excited to go there and then work with the Hiroshima Kenjinkai and then do more community service and all that. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Do you want to share a little bit about the community garden that you're building? That's really a dedication to Andy and the spirit that she had in this neighborhood.
The community garden is great. It's part of my really project to really reflect what this little Tokyo, little community is for, to help each other raising kids here for like a good cause, so I have a good like mindset. So sustainability and everything and healthy, especially those kids don't even see any flowers or anything to go to the daycare. But now they go to daycare, they see us like doing stuff, and then they come and like ask questions. Some kids go to the plants and start talking to the plants. I'm like, this is what I wanted to see. So it makes me so happy to help community. So I've seen so many volunteers, so many great people in this community help each other. That like surprised me so much. It's like they're just doing this for free, like on their time. Andy had like Monday through Friday job, like very serious job at the Mocha. She was like big there. Even then, she will find the time to do Zoom meeting every week with us. And then like, it's just such like mind blowing to me. And then I'm like, that mind will just like forever in me. So like what they did, hard work, her dad came here, all that, it's just, I think that story needs to just continue. So.
I know that Yuka has been talking to you about these plans and getting your advice and making sure she has your blessings, because obviously she knows that this space is really important to you and your family. How does it feel seeing Yuka enter into this new chapter? And then since your father was so connected to the Kenjinkais, to move into a building owned by a Kenjinkai, how do you feel about this new chapter?
I think it's great. Yuka I'm really proud of her and what she has done to make this place well known. And like I said, I treat her like my daughter, and I hope for the best for her, no matter where she goes. But she's not moving that far. She's really close.
2 blocks, yeah.
2 blocks, and
right.
she'll still be in Little Tokyo. So I wish her the best, and I congratulate her on what she has done to this business, our business that we had for a long time. She has tripled probably what we were doing. So I am very proud and pleased with her.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that Mary brought notes because she didn't want to forget to congratulate you, to thank you, and to tell you that she's proud of you. So she wrote it all down.
No,
she got all notes.
I felt so pressure. I was like, I saw her note. I was like, did you write it down? Because I didn't do anything of that. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's from my heart.
Hi.
I didn't need it really.
Yeah.
No, but now you can give her the cards and she'll write it down as well.
I'll put it on the wall at the new store. Yeah.
Be framed at the new location. I think that, obviously it's a really tough time in the economy, and it's wonderful that we have this really great news about what's happening with Little Tokyo Florist. Since 2020 up to 2025, over 60 businesses have closed in the Little Tokyo neighborhood alone. The majority of them all small businesses, and it's been tough to have that many closures in such a short period of time. What do you think, or how do you keep your doors open? And to other business owners that might be like, man, it's rough right now, what advice would you want to give to them at moments like, what do you tell yourself when it's hard? So yeah, what do you think really kept your doors open all those years?
Well, there are going to be times that are up, that are good, and there's going to be times when it's, not very good. But you have to prepare for that. Any business, you cannot just spend everything you got, coming in like that. You have to prepare for the ups and downs in any business. So I think you got to use your brains, not go too far way out there, but kind of, keep it low and steady. You don't want to raise the price up, or you don't want to raise it too low. Just keep it so that it will go around and come back to you. That's what I think.
I really appreciate that message around consistency. It's the long game that you're playing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, there are no get rich quick schemes in small business for sure. Yuka, what about you? What do you think it is that keeps your doors open?
It's the community and you. Mariko. Like true story right here. Like all your support, like getting
Little Tokyo's
grants in and all
open.
that. Putting all the events together and stuff like that. But yeah, I really found my community here with the great people. And then I'm just so excited to do more for the community. That's just keep me going with this Little Tokyo and Little Tokyo Florist with the new locations, all about the community service. Yes, there is events and we do a lot of cool stuff and, things like that. But at the same time, I want Mary to teach some workshops, and I'm just so excited to do youth programs, LGBT programs, and all that we need to support. Because of the economy toughened and everything doesn't mean I need to make more money, but to help each other. I think this helps all the community and other small businesses owner to just keep going. Because it's just hard anyway. It's hard, but it's with the community. I think it's that makes this Little Tokyo great. And then more people wants to open up the business, and then that thrives this little town. And that's next 50 and 100 more years to go. So I'm just excited to be a part of it. And
I love it. I mean, I really appreciate both of you being a part of my first community conversation as part of my Little Tokyo's Open program. I think this is exactly the kind of conversations I want to have with my neighbors and learn about how do we support each other and what can we create together, like a community garden that gives back to one another in a way that feels less transactional and more service-oriented. I appreciate both of your guys' time so much today. And for those of you tuning in, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Little Tokyo Florist Yuka Mizusawa and Mary Onoue from Kuragami Florist. We're going to have more of these. Behind every small business, there are people. And people are stories. They're a collection of memories that are not just their histories, but they are our histories as well. So I'm looking forward to have you guys tune into more of these episodes as we learn about our neighbors and our communities. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.